Live from Studio 7E in Rockefeller Center, this is News for New York.
Welcome back. Coming up on 7:50 on a Sunday morning. Is your relationship with your spouse, your partner, anyone you're with, stressful, boring, unhealthy? Dr. Michael Finkelstein, a holistic physician and founder of Skillful Living, is here with 10 physical and emotional habits of healthy couples. Doctor, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
So we have a lot to cover here, so let's get right to it. First of all, what are some of the unhealthy things that we do around this time of year?
Well, I think that it's important to realize that the holidays are a time where people socialize quite a bit. There's a lot of frenzy. And for couples, I think it's important to put aside time to be alone because the relationship could lose some of its traction in the midst of all the commotion.
So you want to think as a team, and that's something we should be doing all the time, right?
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Well, I think that it's good to organize your schedules together and to anticipate a holiday season like this and plan ahead. So my first recommendation is to schedule time alone together, perhaps something on the order of once a week.
But there are a lot of people saying we're busy. We have bills to pay. We have jobs to do. We have kids running around. How do you find that time in a realistic world?
It is challenging. However, to be practical about it, there's always a certain amount of time, at least a commitment you can make to try to find the time. And communication is a big part of that.
And so you're saying think as a team. But also you say get off the guilt train, which is really a cornerstone of any relationship, isn't it? Guilt. How do you get off that guilt train?
Well, first to realize that guilt is, in essence, a reflection of a power struggle. And guilt also reveals our tendency to be competitive. A healthy relationship is one where cooperation is the motto. And I think it's important here as well to focus on those things you have in common and to let your partner off the hook.
I want to talk about this one, this next tip you have. Get rid of sexpectations. Well, we all have some of those, don't we? I mean, it's part of any relationship. How do you get rid of those, and why should you?
Well, our society is obsessed with sex, and as a result, I think it becomes a natural tendency for us to have some unrealistic expectations in that regard, and it produces a lot of stress. It's important to build intimacy on other levels than sex, and in that way, I think it takes some of the pressure away from sex itself.
And that's something I assume that partners should discuss together about what their expectations are and sort of get it on the table?
Yes, and I think, again, to focus on other ways of breeding intimacy. Some of the other tips, for instance, are flossing your teeth together or looking at your spouse's back for moles. Hygiene it seems silly perhaps, but primates groom together, and in general that's a way of building intimacy.
And one of your final tips is also trading places with your partner, sort of stepping into their shoes, right? To understand what they go through.
Right. Empathy goes a long way. I think it's once in a while very valuable to consider what you must look like to your partner.
Okay, so check back for moles. The couple that checks moles together stays together. All right, Doctor, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll be right back in just a moment with a preview.